All right. Good evening once more again, and welcome to our Friday Live series with Aibakuro. I remain your host, Aibakuro Ombu. Um, well, today's today's live will be playing around a little bit with Paystack once more again. So, in my prior live, um, we were able to show how to handle transactions and balances for a fintech application. So I really just want to build off on that previous project which we worked on from the previous week. Apologies, I was not unable to go live last week because of some circumstances that I couldn't control. Okay, so today nothing too big, but then basically we'll be using Paystack to charge a card that we've saved prior before, and we'll be using our Okubo application API application, in which we started working on already on the previous video. Um, what we'll be doing basically is just to be calling. We'll be linking our current wallet to Paystack, in which users can be able to fund their wallets. And once they fund their wallets for the first time, we want to be able to see if we can save the card details so that in case they want to fund the wallet next time again, we don't have to start having them enter their card details. Rather, they can select from an existing card that has been saved. So by existing card, we mean authorization. Um, all right, so I'm not really sure if we'll be able to finish this session in the 1 hour time allotment, but we'll just flow with the vibes and see where it gets us to. Um, so for a rundown of what I'll be doing today, I basically will be um, adding an extra, extra field in our wallet, not really to our wallet, but to our client, to our user, in which a user now can have its card details saved. So basically, we'll be having a new entity for card, and we'll be digging out those what is expected to be in a card from Paystack. Paystack will always be my go to go to choice for payment processing. I really don't know why, but then it's, let's say, first love. I came to know Paystack first, and they've been awesome ever since. And big shout out to the guys on Paystack. Yeah, y'all doing well. Before I proceed, I want to take out time to make mention that, oh yeah, in as much as I'm not much of a big football fan, but yeah, seeing Nigeria move on to the finals of the AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire, it's it's a it's a big one for me. Anyways, yeah. Um, if you're just joining this live for the first time, I am Aibakuro Ombu. I am a full stack software engineer at Bamboo. I do this live series every Friday, 6 p.m. It's more of like a commitment exercise for me, in which I'm able to stick to something and keep at it continuously for the year. And also, if you are new to the channel, kindly like, subscribe, turn on notifications so whenever I go live, you'll be notified. Um, all right, without further ado, let's dive into this. So, quick one here. I want to go through the Paystack documentation for to see how we can get the card details. All right, see, it's initialized transaction. After a transaction has been initialized, the user verify the transaction, right, to show that the payment went through. Then this response comes back with something that is of interest to us. All right, so two things: authorization. We need this authorization code. We need this authorization code because that's what we'll be providing together with the email back to Paystack to be able to charge this card. and also we need to verify if this card is reusable, because of what point, of what end to what end, if it's not reusable, we won't be able to charge it. And also, it's worthy of note that when handling payments using Paystack, only card transactions can be reusable. Yeah, only card transactions can be reusable. You want to take note of that, so that way, um, that's the only way you can charge a card, because if a user card is reusable, then you can save the card. And it's also best practice to ask the user if they want to save that card after handling first payments. So let's get into the code. Yep. But I will basically be copying this authorization um, object out of this payment. Yeah. And we're setting up our interface for it. Okay. So to jump right into it, let's have an entity called, we're having a new entity that will be card.entity.ts. Export class card, and our class will basically have the following properties, but then this is what we're getting back from Paystack. So let's get this. Okay, so first of all, we need a primary generated column, and it's gonna be UID ID of type string, and we'll have a create date column to be created at of type date, update column, date column, date. Then you can now start having our columns. Our column will be our first column will be the authorization code. Basically, this to be of type string. I really don't, okay, but basically for to be able to show to the user that, oh yeah, this is the card which you are, this is the card in which you are going to be using, right? So it would be nice to have show them the bin and the last four. So let's save that type string. Last four of type string. So then yep, okay, we can still show the provide the card type and the bank. Okay, let's use card type and the brand. String and brand of type string. Okay, we want to also have the expiry that. Okay, let's have the column for expire underscore months type string, and column of expire underscore year type string. What else we need from here again? I think that's fine. Now, who does this card belong to? Of course, the card belongs to, okay, a user can have many cards, so many to one, which will be user. Bring in our user, then user dot cards of type user. All right. we'll move on to the next corresponding entity, which is the user, and have a one-to-many card. Bring in our card, and the card will go match the card dots user. Okay, so cards, card array. And so here is gonna be, yep, perfect, matches. Now we'll take this guy out. So we're still using this. We're still using this guy. Let's quickly create an interface for it. Matches. Save that. Let's quickly create an interface for it. Okay, let's see cards. File. Card.interface.cs. And sports interface iCard authorization. Oh, let's say I authorization, because both banks and bank transfers, USSD, they all come back with authorization, but they're not reusable. And yippee, clear that. Oh, okay. Okay, so yes, will be of type string. Type string. Oh boy. Okay, let's copy this so we don't have to string up everything. This is a boolean. Of course, we need that guy. Yeah. Then signature string, account name, null or string. Okay, now we have the interface, and we have an entity. Right. What are we to do next? Let's have a couple of services that will let us. Did I just use? Okay, I'm contemplating if I just did it in the right place, but then I don't want to go ahead to create a new module for cards, basically. But then, since most of the operations will be done in the wallet service, this operation will be done in the wallet service. What do we do? Okay, let's move out. Let's move entity to the card. Just for sake move. Then also move our card interface to that. Right. Ooh, no. Okay, so we've got the interface up and running. Up next is to modify our wallets for deposit and what we have with the deposit and our. Okay, yes, we have credit wallets and debit wallets. Okay, so if you recall, if you at all you watched the last video, there was a little bit of cutting corners for this, right? If are we generating transaction references, when are we generating transaction references, and the rest, and that's we'll have to eventually clean up. But before we proceed to clean up, right, I want a situation where we're able to make API calls easily to Paystack, and we don't have to do too much though, right? But basically, that this would eventually hold our webbook implementation and the rest as this project builds up. So yeah, so let's switch over to NVM use 20.9. So we'll get the right node version. Okay, now we can now um, let's generate. Okay, let's generate module, call that custom HTTP service, HTTP. Okay, got the module. We're also generating a service HTTP. We could still go along and just generate the controller at once. So that way it's that way we don't, when eventually we need the controller, we can make use of it. So for the HTTP service, oh yeah, and the build up of this video, I quickly ran to one of the projects to copy out this implementation. So basically, this would call Axios. Okay, yeah, we also have to install Axios. Yeah, and add Axios. All right, I didn't have this. I didn't have the strength. Okay, let's get the constructor up and running. So let's rename this from Okra to Paystack. So this is where what we're using to make all our requests to Paystack. HTTP service. Okay. Format this, clean this up. All right. Okay. Yep. Let's swap this out. Requests, response. So BR is the stack is URL. Space stack secrets, secret key. Okay. Okay. All right, let's have a config service coming in. The config service. Let's just config, and we can now have a private read-only. Our fields. Private read-only. Paystack base URL. URL equal to this dot config service dot doing something wrong. Doing something wrong. Why? Oh yeah, that's from me. Okay. The injection is not being done right. Sorry. All right. Have it done right. It's not done right. Okay. Yep. Yippee. Okay. Um, 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 private read only. Paystack base URL. String. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Okay, I use that in the user service. Of course. I was actually right. String is equals to this dot config service. The get. This is not entering well. Where is config service coming from? This. Okay, we'll get a true. Just imagine. Paystack this URL. Please underscore URL. Right. Then okay, we'll also be getting the Paystack secrets too. Right, that's been done, taken care of. Then let's get HTTP service injected. The HTTP service. The service coming from. Where is the HTTP service coming from? Okay, take a sneak peek at take a sneak peek from a block service. HTTP service is coming from Next.js Axios. Look at that. So let's quickly that and add it's just to confirm, just to be sure. My bad. Next.js. Okay, get this imported, and yep, this is taking shape. So basically, what this method will be doing, right, is get taken in a either a get or post request, right? Then we're passing in the string for the route and the payload, which will be of request T, and it's returning a response of type T. So this could be null. So just in case, it's case optional. All right, and .map and .pipe is coming from RxJS, and okay, if you result the data, we want to bring this error, catch error coming from RxJS. This is the exception. And last value from coming from RxJS. Okay, so our helper method is so we don't need this. And our error messages would likely be okay, let's leave this there. All right, we get our config set up for Axios, and yep, our helper method is done with. So let's quickly go to the module, and we're gonna be exporting customer service, so that way we can access the service from wherever. Okay, now with that out of the way, we can discard this. Save it. I think I need to be preparing well for my next videos. Work got a better hold of me. Okay, so back to our flow. Right, we have less than 33 minutes left for this call, for this video. Okay, so with our helper service up and running, we want to be able to refactor our deposits and basically our deposits, that's credit wallets. Yep. So the method should have a different twist at this point in time. So the flow with Paystack is, you first of all initialize, right? You first of all initialize the transaction. Once the transaction is initialized, it generates a URL in which the user is redirected to make payments. Yeah. Then once the user makes payments, you verify the transaction. Verify the transaction on Paystack to ensure that the transaction actually was successful, because you can trust the user. Then once we verify the transaction and it comes with our authorization code, and if the card is reusable, we want to save that card. And so that way we can reuse it for whenever the user wants to make a deposit. Okay, so let's go back to the code now. So we'll be leaving credit wallets as it is. Rather, we'll be doing a new method which will be deposit or initialize deposit. So async init deposits. What would be required for initialize the deposit? We need the user's email. First of all, we need the amount, which type of number. We need the user's email. Okay, we could get the email from the logged in user, or two ways to about it. We get the email from the logged in user, or we get the email from being provided from the controller. So let's play around with getting it from the logged in user, since we are using data source, so we can always get access to the user. Okay. To save time and long process, look at the email from there. So back to documentation. To initialize the transaction, you need the amount and email. Then these are the required fields. So optional fields are the currency, reference, callback URL, plan, invoice limit, yada 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 yada, split code, and of course you need the OBSD charges. But then those are optional fields. But for what we'll be picking out, we would be taking out the channel so we can limit this transaction to just card. Okay, so of which you can still add your other fields, other channels. So leaving it to that's just the channels of cards and the callback URL. So the callback URL is what is the front end URL, which will be Paystack will be directing the user to after payment has been successful. And take note also again, most times that users are impatient. So I've expressed it multiple times in which they either cancel the page after it has showed being successful, so it doesn't get back to your. It doesn't really get back to your redirect callback URL. So you have to fall back to using webhooks. So, but for now, since we don't have any webhooks implemented, probably in future videos we'll talk about implementing webhooks. All right. So we're using the callback URL and also the channels. Yeah. Another thing again that would be required is for us to provide metadata, so that way we know what wallet, we know which user that payment belongs to, and what type of payment is coming in. All right, moving on. Okay, so let's initialize the payment then. So to initialize the payments, of course, we need the amount, we need the email, then all right, which we're already receiving. So let's call this const payload b equals to amount email want channels must be an array of card. Yep, card. Then our callback URL. So it basically it has to be your front end. So let's put that localhost port 8000. Then we want to have save metadata for each transaction, so that we can always dive into the metadata and get what we actually are customizing for, so that we can play around, we can track who the payment belongs to, yada yada yada. So metadata. Okay, in this scenario, in this case, right, we okay, let's add the wallet ID. So because that's basically where the credit, what will be credited. We can move this up to become a basically a DTO. Sports plus deposit DTO. Wallet ID is going to be a UUID. It's required, so it has to be defined. It has to be not empty. Then type string. Okay. Then amount is of type is number. You can have a minimum at 100. That's basically one error. So let's make it 100 error. So that we the minimal transaction Paystack will allow as 100 naira or 15 naira thereabouts. I think so, 15 naira. So you can do this. I remember in the last video we pointed out that it's good to use the unit value of your for your transactions, so that way you could always do magic with it, split it into the right value. You get accurate values down to the last decimal when you convert them back. Okay, so this email, this string, and it's not empty. It's defined, it's not empty, it's no minimum for a string. That's a string. Copy this, add this to you. Okay. I don't have a person error here. Oh, okay. Yippee. And that's that for the DTO. We can now switch this out to data. Should be deposit DTO, because we want to basically okay. How do we deposit it for somewhere else again? Just there. Okay. So for amounts, we're gonna be having data that amounts email will be data.email. All right, so in our metadata, we want to have so metadata is usually a key. Okay, let's confirm what the metadata value looks like. There's a structured metadata. So yeah, we'll be having a custom fields, that's which basically would have display name. So this can appear on our on the table on Paystack transactions. So each is optional, right? We could easily just do cat ID, wallet ID, and passing the wallet ID. All right. So but then just going the extra mile to make sure that yes, we have that, and we could even go the extra mile as for that by bringing out the wallet, getting the wallet ID to ensure that yes, wallet ID belongs exists, yeah, and saving who the user user details of the wallet ID on the metadata. But that is pretty much an overkill. But so let's just use the key value pair of metadata will be wallet underscore ID will be the wallet ID. All right. So prior to that, we need to confirm that the wallet ID is actually valid. So const wallet will be equals to await this dot data source dot get repository wallet, and we want to find one. Let's find one where ID equals to data.wallet ID. Wallet ID. If there's no wallets, we want to throw a not found new not found exception. Wallet not found. Comes back to point for template strings. All right, that's the first step. And oh yeah, we haven't brought in our honorable Paystack. Okay, we're gonna be injecting Paystack, our custom HTTP service, so we can access the Paystack method. Custom HTTP service Okay. So we'll have a payload ready. So our custom HTTP service is, so they're gonna be giving us a result, yeah, from the response from initializing the transaction. Paystack, yep, which of type string, true, the got access code reference. So let's just copy this guy and create an interface for it. An interface for it. We have details, card interfaces. Let's exports interface IP stack response. Init response. Fix that, and stage is gonna be a boolean. It'll be a string for data. String access code string. Though we're not using this, guys. Maybe I think of course they returning with these things might be useful. Why I haven't had a use case for it, so I've always, you know, discarded them. Just took the authorization URL. I'm sure most persons do that too. Take only the authorization URL and move ahead. All right, see, just a quick check to see for comments, if anyone has a comment on the live. Okay, no comments. Moving on. All right. So once you get the response from Paystack, response will be equal to await this dot custom HTTP service, Paystack HTTP service. Okay, guys, basically expecting us to pass in a method which is of type of post or get, a route, and the payload. Yeah, so our method is gonna be a post as expected from us to send. Where is this? Make it visualize. Yes, that's be a post request. Yep, that's be a post request. Okay, and the routes will be transaction slash initialize. And our payload. Okay. All right. So remember we have some what do you call it? The generics for this. So for the response, we are getting from them, we are getting I Paystack in its response. So that way we have, it's supposed to be, just confirm. Yep, that's the response. Yep, B. Okay. Then why is payload looking? Oh yeah. Okay, we need to give the corresponding type. So this, let's use type of payload. Does that work? It does work, which is lazy, but then I well, it is what it is what it is. All right. Okay. So now when we get our response, of which in our Paystack service, if we usually are catching the error, if there's an error, we throw the error, so we don't get a result, right? Okay. Okay. So we wouldn't want to throw a bad request if there's no result of data, because sometimes these results might come with an empty data. So let's just, if return result. Return result. Let this guy off. Yep. So okay, so now we have access to a response, and that response is of type Paystack init response. And let's just do a quick check. So if response dot state use, if no response dot state use, because it's a boolean, if just in case, we can now throw new, let's use unprocessable entity exception, and let's use the response.message message that's coming back from Paystack. Then if none of that, everything goes well, let's return okay, let's add a message. Deposits being generated. I'm not feeling the vibe of that message though. And payment link will be equals to response dot data dot authorization URL. And we've successfully initialized the payment. So initialize the deposits rather. We are saving the wallet ID in the metadata. So whenever the payment is successful, which if it's successful, we should be able to access it before we credit the wallet. Okay. So yeah, this is for init deposits. Then while we're initializing deposit, we still need to verify the deposits. Verify that the payment actually went through. So verify transaction. So verify transaction from Paystack, going to the documentation, we are expected to provide the reference. Oh, my bad, we didn't generate a reference and pass to Paystack. Not generating a reference and passing to Paystack is going to result in Paystack generating a reference for us. Okay, so yeah, then we can use that reference generated from Paystack to create our wallet, credit our wallet eventually when it's time to credit the wallet. So yeah, to verify transaction, we need the transaction reference. Score reference, which is of type string. So going with my colleague, my very good friend colleague, Godwin, he would always turn this down because he will want to validate that this string, this transaction reference is actually provided and it's a string. So just to big shout to Godwin, let's add that to our DTOs. Let's add to DTOs. Okay, we don't have any for that, so let's have one. Export class reference DTO. So our reference is going to be of type string, most definitely. Let's just copy string, it's now empty, is defined reference. Okay, so this if the no reference is provided, it would kick out before getting to this point. So there we have it. So reference DTO of type reference DTO. Okay. So I think maybe I say for purpose of keeping track of what's happening, you might want to save the initialized transaction but then I'm not sure it's it's of any use, because a user might want to make deposit and end up not making that deposit. So we don't want to save those attempts on the database. I wouldn't advise that. Rather just discard it. If no payment comes through, fine. Payment comes through, fine. So to verify transaction, we would be making a call to Paystack once more, okay? Which would be transaction. Transaction will be equal to await this dot custom HTTP service Paystack service. The method is gonna be a get method, as we can see from Paystack. It's a get method, and the URL is gonna be transaction/verify. Verify. Okay, this needs to be a template string, and our reference would come in here. That reference. Okay. And what next is expected? Okay, there's no body for this, no payload for this, and as usual, we would want to. Oh, this is gonna be a tedious one. We want to give the expected types coming back from Paystack. Expected interface coming back from Paystack. So copying, we already have the authorization response, so we already had that. Taking out what is necessary. Of course, we want the amount, we want the authorization, we don't want the log. We want metadata, we want gateway response. So it's down to amount, reference, state use, gateway response, and metadata. Okay, so for we'll always have this. Let's copy the whole of the. Well, I think we could still just use that the way it is in the interface. All right, so let's go back to our card interface and export interface. Paystack verify response. Okay, as I pointed out, we don't need pretty much plenty. And oh yeah, I've seen so many fintech companies which, if the card that was used to make the payments, the name doesn't match what is on record, compliance is likely going to flag it. It's going to be flagging it, because it might be looking at, oh, this card is fraudulent, it was the stolen card. So you want to mitigate that while using the application, so your regulators don't come clamping down on you. All right. For those on the live, if you have any questions, you can feel free to drop questions. If this live is adding value at any point to you, please feel free to say something else. Give a shout out to me, please. Thank you. All right, so we won't be using the log. I've never used that before. All right. Authorization we already have an interface for authorization, so let's just replace this with the authorization. Type authorization. Okay, metadata is going to be coming in as an object, so let's keep it at any, or let's have it as a record string any. pay that. Do I want all that? Nope. We don't want the IP address. We're not doing any big deal with it. The currency stays Nigerian for. You can always keep that. So just in case we start bidding for African users. Channel. Mm-hmm. Of which we know we are restricting the channel to cards, so we basically won't need to be saving that. So yeah, this is gonna be successful. So we don't know what is the field. Let's see. Let's check for the field. Okay. Oh, invalid key. So it's always gonna be success. Of course, it's always gonna be success. So yep, you can keep this, and for you now it will be a string because we want to be sure that it's of type success. We don't need the domain, we don't need the payment ID. We're not using any of that for anything. Reference is gonna be a string. Amount is the number. Fees is the number. Split. Okay, so this is the response we're expecting from Paystack for our verified transaction. Okay, so apparently this video is coming to its end, and I would want to stick to the 1 hour threshold always for the video so it doesn't get too lengthy. So we'll be stopping here for today, but let's quickly just run this up and save the card details. So from next week we can now charge the card authorization. All right, so we know what transaction is now. It's of Paystack verified response. Yeah, we could do a simple check to be ensure that our payment went through. So if transaction dot data dot status equals to success, lowercase s equals to success. Sorry, if it's not equal to success, we want to throw. So one thing I learned in my early in my career was, okay, yeah, you throw as soon as possible. Throw an error as soon as possible. You don't have to wait down the line through throwing an error. So check for negativity and throw instantly. So throw new badge requests exception. Very successful. Made unsuccessful. It's full. All right. There we have it. And we also want to check if transaction.data data authorization reusable. Now this is the point in which we'll save the authorization code and the card details. So we have const card will be equal to this dot what do we name it? Data source, sorry. Data source dot get repository. This will be of type card dot create. Okay, so we could easily just pass in the authorization, right? Because authorization and the card entity are basically the same thing. Wait, where's my interface? Yeah, the authorization and the card are basically the same thing, so we could just pass in the card into it and we'll be fine. Great. Transaction dot data dot authorization. authorization, and we can save the O2. Copy. Wait. Paste you card dot save. Okay, so if it's at this point in time we're saving the card details if it's reusable, else if it's not reusable, then oh yeah, also we need to make who does the card belong to. Okay, this is the point where we'll dive into our metadata and bring out what we sent added to it, which is the wallet ID. All right, so okay. All right, let's take that out quickly. So const wallet over equals to wait. This is the get repository wallet dot find one, and while finding one we want to find based on where ID will be equals to transaction that's data dot metadata dot, that will be wallet ID. Let's go ID. Right. This is a tough one. So if no wallet, what do we want to do? Just supposed to be like more like a fallback. Say, okay, yeah, we receive such transactions, so let's have a ledger in which you save these transactions that are incomplete and have errors somewhere. But for now, let's just throw a new bad exception or a not found request, not found exception, or let not found. Okay. We also, while doing this, we want to include relations of, we want the user. Okay. Right, not found. So now we have access to the user object within this wallet. So while creating the card, right, we can have card dot user be equal to wallet dot user. So that way we can know who the card belongs to when creating the card. And that's basically it. Once this is done, okay, before saving the card, why don't we credit the wallet? Wait, this dot credit wallet. And to credit the wallet, we need to pass in the wallet ID, which is coming from you. I think I should just destructure this guy. Let's destructure transactions. Time. Then also the data, which is supposed to be transaction DTO. Who's our transaction DTO? Amount. That's all we need to pass down. Amount will be equal to, let's do this, transaction dot data dot amount. Remember, we're working with Paystack in sync with regarding using the last unit of money, right, of the currency. So we don't have to do conversions but back down to the right value, since we are using the same extra zeros at the end, multiples of hundreds. So in theory, this should work. In the next video, we will test this out and move on to talk about how we can use the authorization code. Use the authorization code to charge the authorization code in Paystack, which is going to be this feature. Thank you for tuning in today. Um, it's it's been wonderful having you. Wonderful having you. I'm looking forward to next week Friday, where we'll complete this video. And once again, if you haven't followed the channel, please follow the channel. Subscribe to the channel, like, comment. If you have any questions, you can drop them, and I can see to it that I give a response to them. Then also again, you can always find the link to the repo in the description below. So since hasn't been completed, but I'll still push this up so we can continue from where we stopped. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. And watching this video and staying to the end. Big shout out to you guys. Giving the shout out to those two persons that are still here. You guys are wonderful. I really appreciate you guys. So see you same time next week. Once more again from me to be adios. Okay, where is this